Hey, it's May. I'm actually in Michigan, visiting my friend Brady, who's also my editor.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about three of the same words, which are ties, bonds, and relationships. So I'm going to start with water really quick. So water has weak bonds and strong bonds. And the strong bonds are the covalent bonds between oxygen and hydrogen that make up the water molecule. But something really interesting about water is that it also goes through hydrogen bonding, which are the weak interactions between different molecules. And so while the covalent strong bonds make up the water molecule itself, those weak interactions actually define whether or not it's a solid or a liquid or a gas.
So there's a very famous sociology paper that uses this model of the hydrogen atom to describe our relationships with people. So you have the strong ties. These are the people that you are most intimate with, the friends that you deal with on an everyday basis. And then there's the people that are the weak ties, the people that you interact with on a regular basis, but you're not interacting with every single day.
But when you talk about weak ties and strong ties, I kind of feel bad because I don't want to call a friend a weak tie. Right?
I get that. But I think both are very important to the way that we develop our relationships over time, because you really can't be strong tied to everyone. At the same time, you don't want to be weak tied to everyone. The weak bonds are where a lot of information comes into a social network, according to these sociology papers.
I believe it.
The strong bonds are the people that you're with every day. You probably share a lot in common with them, but they can be sort of isolated. These are people that all have generally the same opinions as you. Weak ties, on the other hand, these are the people that you know and can bring information into your group of strong friends. So you shouldn't really feel bad about it. Here's the thing that I think about a lot. In our modern day of online social networking, we sometimes mistake our weak ties for strong ties. You spend a lot of time receiving information and it feels intimate, it feels one-to-one, but really it's not.
Yeah,
It's one to many.
that makes sense.
So I post something and everybody reads it, but that's not the same as having a conversation one-on-one.
So I get this idea that I can trick myself into thinking that all of my many friends and all my social networks are like really strong bonds. What we're saying is that those actually might be weak interactions. So what can I do to kind of make sure that I have healthy, strong relationships?
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
That's one way.
Yeah, true.
Developing these strong interpersonal relationships requires a one-on-one interaction. It's harder to do that if you're relying on a one-to-many interaction.
I think sometimes it's a lot easier to text. Sometimes it's a lot easier to just shout out to social networks and say what's going on. But I think your point about a phone call is pretty important. I think it's really hard to just call someone out of the blue, and I think that generally we don't like that, but it's nice to hear somebody's intonation. It's nice to hear the background of what they're talking about.
You could also write emails, right?
Oh,
We've
yeah.
lost we don't write letters anymore
No.
to people. I find that to be a loss.
The other thing I probably think about this strong bonds versus weak bonds, strong ties, weak ties things. Is a weak tie always a weak tie? Can that fluctuate? Your interactions can change from the gas state, where they're very different from the solid phase. So how does that kind of relate?
But over time, I think our relationships change and mature based on proximity, based on intimacy. We've known each other for 10 years now.
So long.
It surprises me every time I think about it. Over that time, we've developed different relationships.
Yeah. To make a really bad pun, they're very fluid. So in terms of May, I think this is just a shout out for community. Community is just another way to think about bonds. In any community that you're in, you're going to have a lot of fluctuation, and you're going to have a lot of people that are there to really support you, and a lot of people who are there to be like, hey, I'm glad we're friends. And I think that both of those things are okay.
Both of those things enrich our lives.
I like that.
Without the strong bonds, we lose a lot of the emotional support that we need in times of crisis. But without the weak bonds, the weak ties, we lose a lot of the variety of life.
This is the part where I usually sign out. I'm really excited about May. I hope you had a really great month. There's lots of barbecues and stuff happening. Maybe go out and strengthen those ties you want to. I'm going to let Brady sign us out the rest of the way.
We'll see you in June.
Bye.